Ministers leading a multidisciplinary team in government responsible for a national response to the recurring instances of foodborne illnesses. It's claimed already 22 lives will meet this week. President Cyril Ramaphosa, on an unusual Friday night address to the nations, announced a plan for all spaza shops to be registered in 21 days or face closure. The National Institute for Communicable Diseases saying that 6 children died in Aledi, Soweto, because of exposure to turbofos. It's a pesticide registered for agricultural use. It's not permitted for household use. Government also said, the president said, that many municipalities lack the capacity and resources to conduct inspections and enforce regulations. There's also issues around poor waste management, and that's the reason why spaza shops are using regulated pesticide substances. Joined now on the line by Herman Mashaba, president of ActionSA. Good morning, Herman. Really appreciate your time. First, your response to the president's address on Friday night.
Good morning, Lester, and good morning to Cape Talk listeners. I think the president, as usual, has really squandered another great opportunity to give South Africans hope that he's actually serious about our safety and protection. I think for him, this issue of illegal spaza shops, issue of illegal foreigners committing serious heinous crimes in this country is something that is being aware about. The president missed an opportunity to have said to the nation, come the next Monday, the 18th of November 2024, we're going to start with mass deportation of those who are in our country for illegal criminality. And that's really generally how majority of South Africans actually feel. I'm sure you follow the media on radio, people phoning in on social media. South Africans are really hurtful.
But Herman, the president not only spoke about undocumented people in South Africa, he mentioned all spaza shops, also referencing schools and school feeding schemes. It's not just about undocumented people opening up stores.
Lester, I'm 65 years of age. Started school in 1966 until before going to university. Finished my matric in 1978. From day one of my school in 1966 until I finished my matric in 1978, we've always had mothers and members of the women in the community selling fresh fruit to us. We've never had an incident. I don't remember in all the years that we've ever had an incident like that. So I grew up when my parents went to go and buy the fish or meat or bread. We've never really had this crisis. This crisis started just after our democratic dispensation in 1994, and we brought this matter to the attention. But before I personally raised it to the South African the public when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. Before then, any South African who spoke about illegal foreigners, obviously they would be crushed, called names. But fortunately, when I became the mayor, I'm really glad that this idea of xenophobia is finally being understood, because these are the people who are creating
I think it is still xenophobic to particularly highlight foreign nationals when local South African store owners also flout regulations. The president saying that municipalities are not capacitated to deal with these issues, whether it be waste control, waste management, whether it be about checking and doing the inspections when it comes to environmental health and safety. It's an admission from the president that government controls, municipal controls, have not worked or were not there, and this has just had an overall impact on general community safety. I don't think the president said anything specific about undocumented people in South Africa. In fact, if municipalities did their job and they went looking for your certificates, if they went looking whether you were accredited to open up and sell food, they would also then ask, could we see your other documentations as well? So it's just a lack of government controls that has largely led us here, Herman.
Well, I think, Lester, what you've just really outlined to me is actually the president then has to accept the failure of his party over the last 30 years by collapsing municipalities. If you look at municipalities run by them over the last 30 years, they've literally collapsed. That's the first thing. And the second thing, to compound the problem, open borders and making South Africa the World Cup of crime, attracting international crime syndicates to come and continue with that criminal activity in our country. But in the process, then, he should not really be punishing our own people. Yes, we need, if his government was committed and did the right thing by making sure that bylaws are respected. We have local the magistrate courts local magistrate court that can deal with these matters. Unfortunately, they collapse all that system. So, and at the same time, capturing our criminal justice system, making our the South African police ineffective, capturing the NPA, the level of corruption. So I think everything else that I've just said to you and what you've just said, I can tell you, lies squarely at the president and his party for being responsible for the mess we're finding ourselves in right now.
Mr. Mashaba, how many environmental health and safety inspectors did you appoint as mayor of Johannesburg?
Well, I can't tell you the number right now, but I'm sure you're aware.
Was there an increase in
health? Well, absolute. Lester, I'm sure you are aware. When I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg on the 1st of December 2016, announced that I was resolved in ensuring that we're going to reclaim, we're going to come out with bylaws and so forth. And this matter, I'm sure I can send you thousands of pictures of raids where we were raiding with health inspectors, with Metro Police, sometimes with the South African police. At the time, the Gauteng, the provincial government, reluctant to provide us with the support of South African police services. But in terms of South African, any South African who's not aware can tell me is not aware that during my tenure as a mayor of the city of Johannesburg, in terms of inspections, we were aggressive on that. But we had the failure of our courts. I'm sure you remember very well, Lester. Lester can send you clips of how many times where I said to South Africa, Parliament, please pass laws. Municipalities like Johannesburg allow us to prosecute, because we arrest these criminals, but we did not have the prosecutorial authority as per our constitution. I said, please give us the opportunity to have our own jails. And this is actually one huge weakness in our constitutional arrangement that I think over time we need to sort out. That big municipalities like Johannesburg, we must really be allowed to really have our prosecuting authority. We must have our own prisons, because one of the weaknesses is that you arrest someone for serious violation of our bylaws. The same afternoon, if the same afternoon they are out, then there's absolutely nothing you can do.
But Mr. Mashaba, that's the thing, isn't it, at the moment? Politicians who are donning reflective vests and going on raids with police. I don't want that. I want politicians to do their jobs in council and committee. They're not police officers. They're not inspectors. They must employ the inspectors. They must employ the law enforcement officers who go out and do their jobs. I'm sure you can agree. It's not the job of politicians to go out on raids.
Oh no, I cannot. I can tell you what, Lester. I'm sure you must have attended courses on leadership. Leaders lead from the front. When you want something done, you have to really be the leader that demonstrates to society of things that you don't want. We, residents and taxpayers, don't pay us to really be always in the office. Yes, our role is to really pass policies, pass budgets, but at the end of the day, you have to be there on the ground with the people from time to time, because for an example, City of Johannesburg employing 30,000 people, you have to really show them, guys, we need your support. You've got to win the hearts, because that's how you win the hearts and minds of the residents. If you look at the cooperation in the 3 years I received from the unions, because they saw me working with them most Saturdays. I'll be with them on the ground. But when I took over as the mayor of the City of Johannesburg, the Metro Police subs were saying some buildings are no-go areas. And I said, you come with me or not, I am going to, because a Nigerian guy had abducted a young girl from Soweto. And I got to know about this. I was in the middle of the meeting. I got out of that meeting. Fortunately enough, by the time I got there, media was there, and the police were forced to follow me to go and rescue this girl. So that is what leadership is about. You lead from the front, you don't just lead from the office.
Herman Mashaba, I'm sure you enjoy donning the reflector jacket. I would rather appreciate if, instead of a knee-jerk interaction now at the moment with the president saying 21 days for spazas to register and become regularized, 500 million being spent on township and rural support, a biosecurity hub, a ministerial advisory committee, if this was done long ago, if you employed environmental health and safety inspectors, if you employed law enforcement to regularly go and check, if you employ the people to check whether businesses are operating lawfully, if SARS sends out inspectors to ask, may we see your VAT certificates, if you've done that already, and not just some knee-jerk reaction now, maybe 22 children would be alive today. But now it seems as if we have a president who admits that municipalities have failed. They've failed when it comes to solid waste management. They've failed when it comes to keeping streets and businesses and underserved communities clean. So now there's rats. And so what they're doing, what are storekeepers doing? To keep rats at bay, they're using regulated bait that shouldn't be used for domestic or household use. If that wasn't the case, we maybe would have had 22 children still alive today, but they're not. And now a knee-jerk reaction to try and fix the problem very, very quickly. At the same time, there are some who are still blaming foreigners for this mess, when no. The buck stops at municipalities, provincial government, and of course the desk of the president.